Hi, my name's Starsky and welcome to From the Studio on Clubbing TV. In this episode, I'm going to take a look at a new modern interpretation of the TB303 synth bass concept, and that's the Donner B1. So yeah, it can do acid squelchiness. All the synth sounds you heard in that intro track were made by this. Here's the acid line. Here's the bass. It was just something like this. Let's go an octave lower. So there you go, it's really simple to program this. It's got a very limited number of parameters, just like the original TB303, but it can do all those squelchy noises and it comes with lots of patterns internally to get you going. So there's loads of squelchy goodness going on there. Should we take a look at the hardware? Although it looks like an aluminium construction, it's got the same sort of look as my M1 MacBook Pro. It's actually all plastic, but there's nothing wrong with it in any way. It's all perfectly acceptable. All the switches feel like you'd expect them to. The knobs aren't wobbly in any way. And it's just got a really nice feel. It's got a really nice design to it. If we look on the back, we've got full-size MIDI in and MIDI out. We've got a USB, and that's used for connecting to your computer for MIDI and also for updating from the app. I'll show you the app in a minute. We've got a 9-volt DC supply. It doesn't have batteries. I thought it did actually, because if you look at the side of it, it's actually got what looks like room for batteries, but it doesn't. But what it does have is the space for those 5-pin DINs, and also putting it on an angle makes it much easier to play on a table in front of you, easier than sort of leaning over on something that's flat. But overall, it's just a really nice design. If we look at the front, we've got these really nice sort of little pads for keys. If we go into this mode here, we can see that they all light up. Very nice. I don't know if it's showing up on the camera, but there's like a light or a blue fading out to the top of the keys, and we can see which step we're on. And also we can see one of them's lit up white, and that's the key, or the main key, and we can transpose those sequences. So those lights do have a purpose, they're not just there to look nice. On the right hand side, we've got the main control panel. We've got a little LED here. That's just numeric. We don't have any graphics in there. It doesn't need it. It's really simple. We've got things here like the tempo, play and stop, record, edit, pattern mode, gate length, slide. So easy access to all the parameters you need when using the sequencer, and I'll show that in a little bit. Along the top, we've got the synth control, and like I said earlier, it's really, really simple. We've just got a choice between a sawtooth or a square wave. Let's take all this off. It's got a bit of a dull tone or a rich tone, depending on how you look at it. Got the cutoff, resonance, and we've got the envelope amount and the decay. Just like on the 303. Plus we've got the accent control here, which is when you put accents on various notes on the sequencer, and again, I'll come to that in a minute. Down here we've got saturation and delay. You don't get that on the original, of course, but every time you hear a 303 pretty much, it's got saturation and a delay on it, so a really nice addition, and these are quite nice. really does add some weight, that, doesn't it? Play it with and without. Still quite like it without, actually. And then we got the delay, and that's really simple. Again, we've just got level, time, and feedback controls. That's about the minimum you could have for a delay, but it seems to have been developed in such a way, or designed in such a way, that it just works well with acid tones. We turn it on. Sounds like it's got a bandpass filter or something. It sounds like it's getting brighter as it decays. And it doesn't feed back forever. You don't get those infinite loops or that craziness that you can get from a space echo. It's really well controlled. And you can't sync that time to anything. It's strictly doing it by ear. Nearly in time, not bad, but you can hear there that having that bandpass filter or the high pass filter or whatever it is on the feedback loop means that it doesn't really muddy up. If that was filtering down, then you'd get sort of really muddy, sort of bassy things happening, but with it filtering up, it just means that you can play it without worrying, really. So even if you are slightly out of time, it doesn't matter, it just makes it sound a bit richer, fuller, and bouncing around. So let's try and make a sequence on it. So let's program the pattern from the intro track. It's from an old track by Josh Wink called The Higher State of Consciousness, and it's a really classic acid track, which is why I know it. It doesn't sound quite right, but we need to add the slides. Go back into edit mode, we're editing step 1. Let's add the slide to that. And to 3, 4, 10, 13 and 14, there you go. I told you I knew this one inside out. We can change the gate length of each of those and we can add accents, and it's all just as simple to do. Let's go to another step, so let's edit. Step 7, let's change the gate length to 0, so it'll be off. Or we can make it really short. 7, let's go to the gate length again. Let's make it 1. I think that's about 10%. But let's add some ratchets to that, shall we? So we're going to step 7, we'll go to ratchet, and we've got 1 note playing on the step at the minute. Let's make that 4. And now let's put an accent on a couple of them. So we'll go back into edit. We'll go to, let's do this randomly. Where's the accent there? Pretty random. Let's see what it sounds like. So that's it, really simple to use, but we can also edit it on your computer using the app. Let's take a look at that. Here we got all the global controls like MIDI in channel, MIDI out channel, MIDI transpose. You've got this thing called accent velocity threshold. So when you play any note via MIDI over that threshold, it uses the accent, plus a few more controls, clock source. You can use the MIDI, the USB, or the trigger. I've not mentioned the trigger yet, and the trigger is down here. We've got sync in and sync out. So you can link it up to your Eurorack system. Then we have a sequencer as well. If we go to the pattern we've just programmed, let's go to number 40, and we read it from the synth. We can see we've got that pattern there, and if we go into number 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, we've got the ratchet enabled. We could put an accent on, or we could turn it into a rest so it doesn't play anything. If we OK that, and now try and play it on the synth, it's still got the ratchet, and that's because the sequencer doesn't upload live. You've got to save it from the computer onto the synth. So in here we put save. So now this should have that rest. There we go, and to put rests on other steps on the keyboard itself, record and edit, and we can just press rest. So we've got those 3 rests in it, and if we play it again, When we're in play mode, we're transposing, not changing the notes. To change a note, hit record, move to whichever step you want to change the note. Let's change this to something completely mental. Let's put it over there. Okay, so when we play that, let's now change the notes to put that note back again. Record, go back, and it was low G, wasn't it? And it's changed it back again. So I think I've covered the sequencer. We've also got an ARP on this. Let's put the ARP on. Put it on hold. We've got different settings for the ARP. We're on 1 at the minute, which is just up, down, up and down, random. This is up 2 octaves, down 2 octaves, up 3 octaves, down 3 octaves. Let's put it on 3. That's just Stranger Things, up and down. Let's change the tempo. Change the gate length. Add some delay. Again, something you don't have on the TB303 or most of its emulations, so a really nice little addition there. So what are my final thoughts on this? It's a really nice little unit, this. I really do like they've taken the classic 303 concept and made it more accessible, look a bit more modern, and doesn't feel like something from 1981. It's just a nice little thing. It's quite cheap as well. It comes in at around $200 in the US, $170 if you use the discount code. It's €199 if you use the discount code, at least in France, from what I've found on the website, and £178 in the UK. And that's all without shipping, but I think you'll agree it's really good value, and I think that's because Donna Music know what they're doing. I'd never heard of them before, but apparently they're quite a large company. They've been around for about 10 years. They make pianos, drums, ukuleles, violins, saxophones, all sorts of things, MIDI controllers as well. So they're getting into the synth market, which can only be a good thing for us. Well, I hope you enjoyed that, and if you did, don't forget you can catch it whenever you like on our Clubbing TV official YouTube channel on the From the Studio playlist. Got any questions, drop them in the comments and I'll see what I can do to answer them. And if you are into this and you do like the look of it, do take a look at my Starsky Carr YouTube channel as well, where I've got a bit of a deeper dive into it. And I'll see you in the next episode of From the Studio.